One bad tenant can cost you $15,000 and 6 months of your life. That's not hyperbole. That's the average cost of an eviction in California when you factor in lost rent, legal fees, and repairs. Many of you have experienced it. You know the pain. You know the financial hit. But here's the thing. 90% of those nightmares are preventable with a rigorous, legally compliant screening process. I'm going to walk you through exactly how I screen every applicant, step by step, to protect your investment and your sanity. Before you even think about advertising your vacancy, you must establish clear, written screening criteria. This isn't optional. It's your first line of defense against fair housing complaints. You need to decide objectively what makes a qualified tenant for your property. Think about it. If you don't have objective rules, every decision is subjective, and subjectivity is a fair housing lawsuit waiting to happen. Your criteria should cover income requirements, credit score minimums, rental history, and criminal history. For example, you might require a minimum credit score of 650, verifiable income at 3 times the monthly rent, no prior evictions, and no violent felony convictions within the last 7 years. Write it down, make it part of your application process, display it. This transparency protects you. I once saw a landlord get hit with a $25,000 settlement because they denied an applicant, claiming bad vibes, but couldn't produce any objective criteria. The applicant, it turned out, was a member of a protected class. Your written criteria prove you're applying standards consistently, not discriminating. Now here's where it gets interesting. Your criteria must be reasonable and applied uniformly. You can't ask for a 700 credit score from one applicant and a 600 from another just because you liked one more. Consistency is paramount. The rental application itself is your data collection tool. In California, there are strict limits on what you can ask and what you can charge. First, application fees. Thanks to California AB 2559, you can only charge the actual out-of-pocket cost of screening, and you must provide a detailed receipt. This typically caps fees around $30 to $50. Don't try to profit from application fees. It's illegal, and it's a red flag to potential tenants who know their rights. On the application form, you need to collect essential information: full legal name, current address, previous addresses, employment history, income, and references. You can ask about criminal history, but be mindful of ban-the-box laws for housing, which generally mean you cannot ask about arrests that didn't lead to conviction or convictions that have been expunged or sealed. What you absolutely cannot ask about are protected characteristics: race, religion, national origin, sex, familial status, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, source of income, like Section 8, or any other protected class under California law. A landlord I know included marital status on their application, got sued, and had to pay out $16,000. It was an honest mistake, but ignorance of the law is no defense. Stick to relevant financial and rental history. But wait, there's a catch. Even if you don't explicitly ask, if your application process disproportionately impacts a protected class, you could still face a fair housing claim. This is why objective criteria and consistent application are crucial. This is the meat of your tenant screening process. Once you have a completed application, you run the checks. For credit, you're looking for patterns, not perfection. A credit score below 600 is usually a red flag, indicating financial instability or poor payment habits. But don't just look at the number. Dive into the report. Late payments on previous housing, excessive debt, or collections are far more concerning than medical bills or student loan debt. For income verification, the standard is 3 times the monthly rent. If rent is $2,000, they need to show $6,000 in gross monthly income. Don't just take their word for it. Request pay stubs, 2 to 3 months, W-2s, tax returns, or bank statements. Call their employer to verify employment and salary. A landlord in San Diego once accepted a tenant based solely on a pay stub that turned out to be forged. 6 months later, the tenant stopped paying rent, leading to a costly eviction. Trust, but verify. For background checks, focus on criminal history relevant to tenancy, violent crimes, property damage, or drug manufacturing. Avoid blanket exclusions. For example, don't automatically deny someone for any misdemeanor from 10 years ago. Assess the nature of the crime, its severity, and how recent it was. An applicant with a minor shoplifting charge from 5 years ago is very different from someone with a recent felony assault conviction. Many landlords skip reference checks, or they just call the current landlord, who often gives a glowing review just to get rid of a problem tenant. This is a huge mistake. You need to dig deeper. Start by calling the previous landlord, not just the current one. The previous landlord has no incentive to lie, and is more likely to give you an honest assessment. Ask specific questions. Did they pay rent on time? Did they give proper notice before moving out? Did they keep the property clean? Or are there any complaints from neighbors? Would you rent to them again? If they hesitate on that last question, it's a massive red flag. Also, call employers. Verify employment dates, salary, and position. Ask if they are reliable, if they show up on time. A stable job history is a strong indicator of a stable tenant. Don't just rely on the phone numbers provided by the applicant. Cross-reference them. Google the employer's main number and ask to be connected to HR or the supervisor. I've seen applicants provide their friends' numbers disguised as employers or landlords. This extra step takes 5 minutes and can save you thousands. Once you've collected all your information, compare it against your pre-established written screening criteria. If the applicant meets all your criteria, great, approve them. If they don't, you must deny them based on those specific objective criteria. This is where your written standards become your legal shield. And here's a critical point for California landlords. You must provide an adverse action notice if you deny an applicant based on information from a credit report or other consumer report. This notice informs them of the specific reasons for denial and provides information about the consumer reporting agency. Failing to provide this notice can result in legal penalties. Remember that fair housing violations start at $16,000 for a first offense. Document everything. Keep copies of applications, screening reports, and any correspondence. If you deny someone because their credit score was 580 and your minimum is 650, state that specifically. Do not offer vague reasons like, not a good fit, or we found someone else. Transparency and adherence to your own rules are your best defense. So, to recap, first, write your screening criteria before you advertise. It's your legal shield and ensures consistency. Second, understand California AB 2559. Application fees are limited to your actual out-of-pocket screening costs. Third, the 3 times rent income rule is standard, but apply it consistently to every applicant. Fourth, always get to the previous landlord, not just the current one, for references. Finally, if you deny an applicant, provide a specific, documented reason and an adverse action notice if applicable. Fair housing violations are expensive. Following these steps won't just keep you compliant, it will drastically reduce your risk of costly tenant nightmares. Powered by LeaseBase Intelligence.